Here with me now, Andrew Desiderio, congressional reporter for the Daily Beast, and Melissa Bryant, retired Army captain with Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Thank you both for joining us this afternoon. Andrew, let me begin with you with some of the recent developments and accusations. The Secret Service has come out and actually refuted some of these allegations that had been circulating in the press over the past couple of weeks. Has Tester responded to that? Has he defended himself for releasing this information that now appears to have been false?
Well, I don't think he himself has come out on the defensive yet, but what we do know and what my reporting suggests is that the Republicans on the VA committee were actually completely okay with what Senator Tester did, and they actually preferred that he be the messenger for these types, sort of relaying these types of allegations against Dr. Jackson, because it became clear to them as the week went on that this nomination was pretty much dead in the water before they could even have a hearing. As we know, the hearing was delayed indefinitely, and we weren't even clear whether it would happen eventually. So you know, a lot of these allegations are unsubstantiated, but many of the senators on the committee, including the Republicans, were okay enough with what they had heard from the 20 or so former military employees about Dr. Jackson's conduct that they were okay with what Senator Tester did. And as for what President Trump suggested, we obviously don't know what he's suggesting, but it's no surprise that he would attack a red state Democratic senator in a midterm election year like this.
So, Melissa, Jackson was nominated to head up the second largest agency in the federal government. How do those who depend on the VA, you know, especially their services, feel about how this nomination has played out and the subsequent fallout?
It's just very disappointing to watch this saga continue. This will now be our 8th nominee after Admiral Jackson since 9/11. The VA, there's 380,000 employees nearly. It's a $200 billion budget and we already had concerns from our members from IAVA about his capability to handle that job. Such a Byzantine bureaucracy that he would have to manage. Previous to this appointment, he would have been a manager of about 40 people on staff, and so that was concerning to our members. We ran a poll just last week before these allegations hit the news where 38% of our members opposed his nomination, 29% were and then another 29% were neutral. They just didn't know. They didn't really have a good opinion of whether he would be up to task because this is such a big job. And it's a lot for anyone to be able to handle, let alone someone with very little management experience. We really want someone who understands the military. We want someone who understands healthcare and bureaucracy. It's that trifecta that our members, at least at IAVA, are looking for.
So to that point, which is a very valid point, because the president himself has been very vocal about his commitment, his support for our veterans. Take a listen to this.
I will say this, I am with the veterans 100%. They're our greatest people. They're being treated terribly.
We are going to make the Veterans Administration so good, so proper, which is going to be run so well. I've got some of the best people in the world to run it already.
I love the vets. The vets are treated like fourth-class citizens in this country.
The VA is one of the most corrupt enterprises in all of Washington and the country. It's so poorly run. It's so poorly run. The Veterans Administration is a mess. It's corrupt. It's run poorly. Our vets are going to be treated well.
All right, so how do you reconcile what the president was saying there with his choices so far to lead the Department of Veterans Affairs? You had his first choice, who essentially was fired from the White House amid scandal. His second choice had to withdraw his nomination, also amid some scandal. How much confidence do the veterans in this country have that President Trump can get it right with his next pick?
From our members' perspective, there's definitely a lack of faith right now. And it's not just the Trump administration. It's every administration, at least since 9/11. Our organization represents the post-9/11 generation, and all of them have failed veterans in the past. We're looking at accountability and reform within the VA. That's the top concern that our members told us in our most recent poll. We still care about things like not just the health care that needs to be dealt with within the VA, but also other benefits like education benefits. There's a lot more the VA does. It also manages the National Cemetery Administration. And so there's a lot more the VA does for veterans for our care after our service. And that's really where it's not just the Trump administration. It's all administrations administrations who love to have us there and love to use us as props, but don't like to. But don't like to necessarily make sure that we have the care that we need after the fact.
Melissa, I appreciate that insights. Andrew, as